Today is the 18th of October. Lots and lots has changed. I mean, don't even know where to begin. A lot of things have happened. Uh, I'll start with, I guess, everyone agreed to do letters for my surgery, and two of them are sent. One therapist weirdly refuses to send it in the mail, and the hospital wants it to be like a wet signature. So that's been a little weird having to navigate that because I'm not sure what the hiccup is here. I just want to kind of be like, look, I've been waiting for this an extremely long time. Will you please just send it? Just send it. I'm not sure why, but there's an adversity to sending it. So I'm trying to find some way that maybe it can be like securely done some other way or something. I don't know. Anyway, but otherwise, things are moving forward, hopefully, with the consultation. I saw my doctor, my PCP, and she basically called and yelled at people. She was very upset that they were not filling my testosterone. She made three refills on it, and each one of them um, basically will make it compiled together that I have like 9 months of testosterone that will be fillable. So that's good. She basically was like, screw this crap. And she's having me come again in December for another appointment to do blood work because I hadn't been able to take testosterone. So she couldn't like check my levels correctly. So she was like, well, we'll wait. We'll give it a little bit of time for your body to recuperate from not having been able to have it. um I took the testosterone, and literally the next day my roommate said, did you take your testosterone? I was like, yes. And she's like, I can tell. And I was like, really? That fast? And she was like, yes, that fast. So yay for that. um that's a tremendous effect on my health and on my depression levels and everything, is just being able to actually have a healthy range of hormones. For anyone who hasn't watched this for a super long time, I don't produce enough hormones to be healthy. I only produce enough hormones to be male. But I'm a sick boy. So I have to have hormone replacement therapy to make up the difference. It does happen to guys sometimes, um, but you think of like, I don't know, like a woman in her menopause times when she might need some hormone replacement therapy. I basically just have had that problem my entire life. But I didn't know about it my entire life. So yeah, there's that. But whatever. It's thankfully resolved. So, or at the moment resolved. The biggest problem though is with the shutdown, like SNAP food benefits. If the government shutdown continues, you know, I will not be able to get any in November. On top of that, there's, you know, Medicaid has a budget I think through till January, and then of course I'm finally, hopefully, to this consultation that'll mean the scheduling of surgery and freaking. Uh, but the government shutdown should be resolved before then. Hopefully, with Medicaid still being kept intact. I don't understand how any politician can think, oh yeah, let's kick 15 million people off of healthcare, and that's a good positive thing we should be doing. Like, millions and millions of people, and they think it's a good idea. It's like mind-boggling to me, like crazy to me. Healthcare is already like absolutely like completely broken in this system, and a bunch of people are getting letters that their healthcare premiums are going up. Insurance is like jumping up costs, sometimes four times what they had before. And it's like, how is any of this remotely good for society? It's not. Having a bunch of sick people and, financially broken people is not good for society. So why in this country do we keep doing that to ourselves? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It makes no sense to me. Hopefully someday, once I get done with college, I can do something about it because that is a goal of mine. The world needs less disparity. It's ridiculous. But yeah, a bunch of other changes have happened. A bunch of other things. Obviously I still have my own room, but so I have been struggling for months and months with being depressed about losing someone from my life who was the most important person in my life. And it wasn't even my fault, but it was a situation that was extremely complicated. I had been not talking about it because I didn't want to get anyone in trouble or anything like that. And I basically am to the point where I'm like, screw it. Um, the person that I had lost, um, basically, I thought I was dead to them, and I was for basically like 4-ish months, and then they just randomly. I had been doing my very best to stay out of their life, but we were at the same event. I sat all the way in the front to make sure that I wouldn't bother them because knowing them for I've known them for 2 years now. Uh, they'll always sit in the back because they'll always get there late. Just their mo. So I made sure I was as far away as possible and tried really hard to like be nondescript and stuff. And it was like this, pretty much, half the day long event thing here. And um, I won the raffle at the event. And up till then, I was pretty sure that this person didn't even know I was there. And then everyone around me was cheering. I couldn't even do the whole, oh, I won't claim the raffle. Let them draw another number thing because everyone around at the table was like, oh, was that your number? Clapping. And then everyone nearby in other tables are like, oh, clapping. And then it's like a domino effect. Everybody's clapping, like over 300 people, and being like, oh, go on the stage and get your prize. And then the school was sending me to this conference that I had been accepted to. Uh, and I spoke at the ethics conference, um, like the second week of October or something like that. Anyway, it was pretty recently. But so then the school wanted me to talk about the conference and stuff. And I'm like, crap, crap, crap. The whole time I'm on the stage, I'm like, I just need to get off this stage because now, the person that I care about knows I'm here and has to deal with whatever feelings that brings up. And I felt really bad. Like, so then they all went out to take this big giant group picture of everybody there. So I stayed inside and talked to people. We see that the group picture is about done. So we start to go out. And then the leader of the whole event was like, oh, some people weren't in the picture. We have to retake it. And so once again, I've been called out in front of everybody. And I know somewhere in that crowd, there is the person that I have been grieving actively for months, like we don't have a relationship anymore. Like I was so distraught. And the picture gets done being taken and I start talking to someone. I'm like, at least I'll be busy and they can just walk past me and know that I'm not going to bother them and that they can just stay how things were. That's not what happened. This person came right up to me and I was so shocked I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even say a single thing. So then this person went away and I tried to avoid this person. The person seemed to avoid me the rest of the day and we were both very like stay away from each other, but I was so confused. Why did they come up to me and they almost acted like they wanted to give me a hug and stuff? And I was like, did they forget? Like what just happened? Um so a friend convinced me to message them. I'm confused. I want to make sure what you want. And they basically messaged me back, um either don't be dramatic about it and we can keep having a relationship or else we can part ways. And I was like, what? I was very, very confused. Um, but I was like, okay. So we are back to having a relationship again. And it's a little awkward. There's definitely a little bit of side skirting, but we're trying. And um I'm really, really happy for the most part. Um it is weird to try to start again without, like, I don't know, coming to some sort of resolution or reconciliation about the super complicated situation that had happened before, but also at the same time it's like ridiculously complicated. um I haven't talked about it a ton because, again, I don't want to like hurt anybody or anything, but I think I have mentioned it on this. I'm not going to go back and watch right this second. I tend to record these completely unedited, so I don't remember for sure if I've explained any pieces to this, but screw it. Here it goes. Man, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. Um, More than a year ago, someone started working with me who did not seem to like me at all at first. And so I went out of my way to be nice to them because I like people to be happy, but also I was going to be working with this person and I want it to be like a happy workplace because the person that I lost was essentially my direct boss. They were also my mentor, my hero, the most important person I've ever met in my entire life. Like, more influence on me than anyone ever. Um, I mean, I've told her before. She's basically my mom. If what I wish I could have had, and so she is not always perfectly comfortable with that, but she also seems touched. But she has had so much impact on me. So turns out after a while, he, is hanging around me more and stuff. And I'm like, oh, yay, I made friends with this person after all. No, he was hanging around me because I talk about her a lot. Because she and I have this relationship where she's my mentor and my faculty advisor and stuff. And he was looking for information to infiltrate her life. And he eventually told me so. He told me, oh, he had seen something of her online. I don't know if it was a photo or if it was a post she wrote or what, but he decided that he was into her and started looking into her life, figured out where she taught so that he could become a student so that he could meet her in person and start getting into her life. And by the end of the first quarter, he was starting to work with her, with me, and I didn't even know. And so here I was, horrified that he'd been using me to try to basically get in her pants. Um, and he was very creepy about when he told me. Like, the things he said were highly disturbing. And I hadn't realized, like, I'm pretty gullible. I won't deny it. So here I am, like, oh crap. So I tried to tell her, but she's like, no, this has happened to me before. I can't know who it is. I will not be able to do my job. Do not keep talking to me about this. I can't handle it. I've been in this situation before and it's too much. So that sucks. So now I decide to report him to the school, and I went and did that. And then I decided I would never speak about her in front of him ever again. He would never get a single other bit of information from my enthusiasm ever again. And he noticed almost immediately and became quite retaliatory. And so then he started harassing me and he started trying to infiltrate my life, and I was resistant to that. So then he tried to like force me into his and to get me to go off campus with him and do like things that I was like, no, no, hard no. So then he just started harassing me all the time at work and trying to destroy my reputation, and he tried to ruin my friendships. Like, he literally tried to destroy my friend group liking me. He freaking would stand over me while I was sitting down, and he would just like breathe and argue with me. Or I would try to sit on the opposite side of the room from him at work, and he would just yell across the room and start arguments. Or I'd be talking with someone and he'd literally just interject and insert himself into it. And so it became like this really disturbing thing that he constantly like every single week, at least 3 times a week, would try to start arguments or try to interject into conversations, try to convince someone not to like me, like try to constantly harass me. Like, and it wasn't physical harassment, but it was constant mental tension. And even on a day when he wouldn't do something, there was the tension of what is he going to do? Is he going to do something? Like I couldn't even like get a break, and my workplace was not safe. But my direct boss was the person who did not want to know who her stalker was because she had been a victim before. And how do you protect a victim's agency while having the agency to not become a victim? I do not know the answer to that question. I have never figured it out. Um, I originally reported this guy on February 6th. So it's been over 9 months. And I eventually just kept like trying to deal with the fact that he was doing horrible, disgusting things stalking her, like public masturbation and like he would get high even off of negative interactions with her, like stand in a doorway and not let her go through until she spoke to him, and she'd not be pleased, and he'd still just rock back and forth high as fuck off of it. Excuse my language, but like this guy is a disgusting person. Anyway, so it's not even just stuff he's doing to me, but also here's like the most important person in my life, and he's trying to do stuff with her. And I tried to tiptoe around like asking for like us to not be working together, but she'd be like, well, why can't you be friends? And I'm like, how do I answer that without you finding out? So it was like extremely complicated. And for months and months and months and months and months, it was extremely complicated. Um, Eventually it's almost June, and there's, here he is arguing with me and stuff in front of, in class, in front of a teacher. And the teacher, I finally got to the point where I was like, look, we're going to have a group project in this class. Can I please not be on a team with this specific person? I'll do the group project with anyone else happily. And she was like, oh, is it because he's so, cantankerous and everything? And I'm like, no, it's other reasons, but it's fine. And she's like, well, is it? And she's wants to know. Turns out he's, before in her classes, like said things he should not have about girls, and 2 girls, and it's been so bad that she had to go to her dean and ask to not have group projects that whole quarter because there were too many girls in her class, and there was no way around that he would end up with girls he would say inappropriate things to. And up until that point I had thought it was just him, me, and her, like, my hero, in this weird complicated like triangle. And the realization that this entire time he might have been preying on others, and his obsession with her wasn't such a hardcore obsession that he couldn't also get obsessed with other girls. Like like this guy is old. Like this guy's like 57 years old or something. Like he's way too old to not know better. And so I felt like I had to tell her, because even if there's a chance that he might be doing something like that at our job to some girl who comes in, some student, it has to be addressed. It has to. And so uh, I started to go to her, and she was like, "Oh, go to our boss, like the head boss, because she hasn't had employees who won't get along as an issue before, and he has, and he said if it comes up again, just send them to me." And I was like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yes, just go to him." So I did. I went to him and I told him like everything. And I I cried my eyes out at telling him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm telling her." And I'm like, "No, that one thing there is that she hasn't had to know who her stalker is." And he's like, "Nope, she's finding out. You don't get a say in the matter. I'm telling her." And he was like, "This is all conjecture. This is your word against his. And if what you're saying is true, there's some required reporters here that you've been talking to. Like you could be getting a lot of people in trouble." And he's like, "This is out of your hands. This is now completely out of your hands, and you don't get to know the results." And I thought, that's horrible. I begged him, but he insisted. And I eventually was like, well, at least part of me is relieved because up until now I've been carrying this really heavy thing by myself. And I had been trying to not quit my job and stay and be a shield for her. And I thought if part of his obsession's with me, then he'll give less energy toward his obsession with her. And I thought I was doing the right thing to the best that I knew. And now she would know, but also her boss would know and could keep an eye on things. And maybe he would like change my shift to not have to work with this guy anymore. And he would help me because he had been harassing me, like mental tormenting me for like months and months and months and months. And he had even told me to my face. I tried to give the guy a second hard no. I knew he somehow knows my schedule. I don't even know my schedule. He somehow knows her schedule. I don't think she even knows her schedule. Somehow he memorizes our schedule. I don't know how he does it. But this guy, I knew she was teaching a workshop and he'd be there early so that he could see her as long as possible. And sure enough, he was there. So in the room before anyone else got there, I went and I told him, like, I don't even remember when it was. But anyway, like maybe 2 weeks before all of this happened. Anyway, I told him, hey, look, I've been as polite about it as I know how to be. And I don't know if there's like some confusion, but I'm not comfortable with your attempts to infiltrate my life and initiate like some sort of relationship. We're just coworkers. And he's like, oh, there's no confusion. I've known for like at least 6 months that you're not comfortable. And I was just like, I was not expecting him to just say that straight to my face like that, like full on admit that he was doing it on purpose. And I was like, if you know, then why do you do these things like start arguments with me and say you miss me and stand over me and stuff? And he's like, oh, I'm talking to you, the tutor. I'm talking to you, the financial ethicist. I'm not talking to you, the person. So it's fine. And I just was like shocked. I was like, what the? Who says something like that? What the hell? So then he said, I'm just friendly professional and you're unfriendly professional. I was like, no, 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 no. There's only professional. There's no friendly. There's no unfriendly. Only professional only. Understood? Because I don't think we're ever going to be friends. We just clash. So do you understand? Professional only. And he's like, oh, I understand. And I'm just like, I left. And yeah, that guy. Anyway, so I told my boss's boss, the head guy, right? Um, he told her that same day, that same afternoon, while I was working. So I knew he was in there telling her. Like I knew. And of course she comes out of there and she looks upset, but she will not look at me. She will not look at me, let alone speak to me. Like I'm dead. And I did make a couple of attempts to try to check in after giving her a little time. That was a mistake. It got to the point where she literally told me full on that it was not okay to talk to her. After like 2 weeks, she said that. So I knew I was dead. There was no way around it. Like she had told me specifically she didn't want to know who her stalker was, that this was too traumatic, and here she was traumatized. And I didn't tell her, but I told the person who told her. And she knew that she had made clear to me that she did not want to know. And I deliberately disobeyed her. But also, this guy was like torturing me for months and like harassing me nonstop. And this guy wasn't just bullying me, but possibly sexually harassing other girls. How could I not say something? I had to choose my convictions over the most important relationship I've ever had in my entire life. And I thought, I'm fucked. Like, again, pardon my language, but I've been extremely distraught over this. and trying to just stay functional and keep going. Somehow, she and I are managing to keep trying at this, and I can tell she's trying. Like, I can tell she's really trying, and I hope she can tell I'm trying, because um the second day of school, like after a horrible summer of me trying really hard to do positive things but being pretty much just completely miserable, on the second day of the new school year, a fall quarter starting, I go to do my job at, you know, at the financial aid office. I quit my job as a tutor. I totally quit. And I was like, that way I will never, hopefully, ever have to interact with him again. I'll never step foot in the learning center again. And he'll, he won. He got like everything he wanted. He wanted me to be miserable. Well, I was. He wanted me to not be believed in my reputation to be thrown under, and people to not think highly of me. Well, he got that. He wanted me to be gone and no longer trying to protect her. He got that. He wanted to drive a wedge between her and me. Like, he really wanted that a lot, and he had succeeded. I was like, screw it. He won. Fine. But I'm not going to stay here and keep taking it. So the one thing I have agency to do is leave. And it's not like she wants me there. She wants me to not exist. So I left. I quit. I quit my job. And my boss guy, he didn't do anything. He left me for 3 weeks alone in a room with that guy, knowing that he had for months been harassing me. He didn't do anything. He didn't change my shift. He didn't, move me to another room, like nothing. So yeah, it really sucked. It was a horrible summer. Came back to school and I was like, well, at least I have this conference coming up. At least, you know, I'll be getting back into the structure of school again and see my friends and work my two jobs. I got another work study job instead of that one. I got my old job back, basically, being a student manager, and then I still work with the funding navigation team helping. And so I was like, okay, things are gonna be functional. They won't be great. How can it be without, my relationship with her? But at least it'll be functional. But then she talked to me, um, and so I was like, well, I don't know where this is going, but I'm feeling pretty positive about school starting. Second day of school, I go to work. Go to come out of the financial aid office has like codes on the door and stuff. I go to come out, and there he is. And I was like, I quit my job. I've been completely gone from that whole area of the school. I freaking like had summer break. And what? So I waited till I heard him talk to someone, and then I bolted out that door and away. And I ran to a friend and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what is he doing there? And she was like, oh, calm down. Tell me about this. And I hadn't been telling people, right? So I told her, oh, I kind of have, I guess, a stalker on campus. Like, he's been harassing me for a super long time, and I wasn't expecting this. But you know what? It's the financial aid office. Maybe he just needs financial aid. And I was like, I'm probably being too dramatic. It's probably me being over the top. I shouldn't have panicked like that. Like, and we had been talking for at least half an hour, and she's like, well, let's go get snacks and stuff, and we'll go by there. And I'm like, why would we do that? And she's like, because I want to see what he looks like. And I'm like, he won't even be there anymore, because that would mean he actually was waiting for me. There's no way he's still there. He probably just wanted financial aid, like, stuff. And she's like, no, let's go by there. I'll go through the door. You won't even have to see. And I'm like, this is a horrible idea. And she's like, it'll be fine. And I'm like, so we go up there. She convinces me. I don't know how. She convinces me. She goes and she's like, I don't see an old guy by the windows for the financial aid. And so I go stand next to her by the open doors to the area. for student services and stuff. And I'm like, oh no, he's not. And then I just stopped talking because he was waiting on the other side by the freaking bulletins and stuff, and he saw me and instantly started coming toward me, and I could see out of the peripheral of my eye movement, and I looked over and there he was coming right at me. And I ran like Usain Bolt couldn't have kept up with me, and behind me she's running, oh my god, I saw him, oh my god. Like I'm like, oh my god, what the he's actually still there. Like he actually is waiting for me. Like he's full blown. Like I thought he was stalking me before because like I had teachers email me that he was looking for information about like my assignments and stuff like that, and that's FERPA protected. Like he can't do that. So he was trying to infiltrate multiple ways, but I hadn't thought of it as like stalking until that moment. And then I was just like, so then she sits down with me and she's like, oh my god, what in the world is going on? So I started telling her things that he had been doing and things that had happened. I told her a lot of things, and she was like, oh my god, I can't believe all of this. So I get a message alert that someone left a card for me at the advising, which is right there at that same area. And this happens sometimes. People leave me stuff because I'm a popular guy at my school and people like me. And I'm like, is this a trap? Because I could use a pick-me-up. I could use a really nice card from somebody. But what if he's trying to lure me back in there? And so we found this back side door thing, and she was like, look, I'll go, you stay over onto the side and I'll motion at you like this if he's still there waiting for you, and I'll check. And so she went over and checked, and then she's like I'm like, oh my god. So we slinked along this very side out of sight, got the card, and like dashed away. The card was very nice. It was from some nice people. It was not a trap. Yay. But that means 3 times in one day he was waiting for me. And I was like, oh my god. So I told my boss at the financial aid office, I was like, look, if I start running away or something, I'm really sorry that this is affecting like my workplace here, but this guy, like I had to quit my last job. Like I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. If I act weird or something, it's him. It's not anything to do with work and stuff. And she's like, I'm reporting this. I was like, okay, it's been reported multiple times, but feel free. They'll just add it to the pile. Nothing's ever been done about it. It's been an extremely long time. It's like the better part of a year. And she was like, that's unacceptable. You should be safe in your workplace. I was like, well, I agree, but also, like I said, feel free to report it. And so she did. Lo and behold, she reported it to like the district, and they were very upset. And now there's like a full-blown investigation. And here I am trying to rebuild a relationship. And the one thing we're not allowed to talk about is now there, and they're like putting her name on the list of people they want to investigate. And they're telling me, we're investigating whether you're involved or not. But if you're involved, we'll give you a conclusion letter at the end and tell you what the results are and stuff. Otherwise, you're just, a witness person and you don't know the results. But no matter what, we're investigating this because turns out no one had reported it the whole time. For like, again, it's been over 9 months. And they were like, that's completely mind-bogglingly unacceptable. My boss at the financial aid office was the first one to actually file a report. And they were like, they looked, the original day that I reported, it was February 6th. So it's been an extremely long time. And that's the day I reported. He actually told me a few days before that. Because I tried to talk to her about it first. So yeah, it's like, then I have to tell her, look, I'm trying to keep only to the facts, no emotions involved, but they're going to contact you at some point. Here's what, like, what do I even say? I can't say I'm sorry. I didn't file the report. I can't say I'm sorry. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask for this guy to tell me he was stalking her. I did not ask him at all to stalk her in the first place. I did not ask him, like, by any means to start stalking me. and harassing me, I didn't ask for the teacher to tell me about the girls that he had said inappropriate things to in her classroom. I didn't ask for my boss at my previous job to not file a report. You know, he's the one who gave me a speech about required reporters, and then he didn't report. That's not my fault. None of this is my fault, but I keep being the guy who's like in trouble. And so I'm complying with the investigation. I'm going along with it because I kind of just want this to be done and over. I want this guy out of my life. I want him to never come near me again. They within 3 days did an order of no contact, and thankfully thus far he has complied with the order of no contact. Um, it's crazy, and I'm not even telling like so much. Like, this is the short version. Believe it or not, this is the super condensed version of this story. But she is still talking to me. We are both still trying, and that's huge to me. My birthday just happened. I just turned 41, and I have every single birthday of my entire life that I am aware of cried on my birthday. My birthday has been like the worst day of the year for me for almost my entire life. And this year, she published her first book, and I got the very first physical copy of it ever. And no matter how many books she writes, no matter how many things, I will always have the very first. And she autographed it for me. And she wrote use this well, like from Harry Potter when Dumbledore gives the invisibility cloak to Harry. Use this well, whatever that, I don't remember the exact words. I could go look at it, but I'm sitting here already. So but the point is she gave me that, and I was so happy. And then we ate Turkish food, like my roommate and my family that I have, my my basically two siblings and their spouses and my two little nephews, and my one of my friends came as well. So I had like this little mini birthday party thing, and we went to like see where the salmon are and go to a gardens, and there was lots of seals and sea lions and stuff. It was cute. It was a good day. And I just was too happy to cry for the very first time. Very, very first time. I was so completely happy that I didn't cry once. Not one single time. Never had that happen before. But I had thought I would never have her back in my life. And here she was, and she was giving me like this really significant gift and signing this book. And I was about to go to this conference. I was on the verge of going to this conference to speak, and it was a really great day. The weather was really nice, and the people that I hoped would tell me happy birthday did. The people that I hoped would care that it was my birthday, for the most part, did. And so, yeah, it was really strange because it did come to my mind that, oh, here I am a year older and my body's still this effed up and I still am waiting for surgeries. It did cross my mind. But then I thought about her autographing my book, and I don't know, I couldn't cry. I don't know what's going to happen with this investigation thing, and I'm hopeful that our relationship will survive and be okay. She and I both have been accepted to an event in November to speak, and so we'll see each other at that no matter what anyway. After the conference, she sat down with me. Oh my god, the conference went so freaking well. These people were obsessed with me. I could not even believe it. They were like, thank you for coming and adding so much to this conference. I just started my bachelor's, like literally this quarter. I just got my associate's degree. Like it's always been strange to me even to get invited to conferences to speak, that my papers are even eligible to be accepted. But this one in specific, there was a professor who was like, your presentation at the banquet dinner at the end, she said, your presentation was my favorite one of the entire conference. Never gotten that compliment before. They gave me a graduate certificate of pedagogy. Like they gave me the certificate, and when I got back, my hero, she's like so proud. She's like, she literally told me to my face she was so proud of me, and I was like very happy. I was like, you know, that's my favorite thing to hear in the entire world. That makes me so happy. And she's like, yes, I know. And I was just like, you know, so. But she did say that I'm doing too many conferences that have to do with ethics, and I need to do more conferences that have to do with business and finance, because it's supposed to be more like 50-50 ish. And I've been doing a lot more ethics and not very much business finance. And that's true. That's so that makes sense to me. I do need to do that. But it has brought so much happiness to my world that we're trying to work on essentially continuing our relationship as if that whole big giant horribleness, I guess, didn't happen. It's not the way I would have chosen to do it. I would have been like, should we talk this out? But the way that she wants to handle it is, let's pretend that this guy doesn't exist, and that he never existed, and that we never had that that almost 4 months of situation, and that I never had to find out who my stalker was, and that it wasn't your fault that I found out who my stalker was. Like we're just basically treating it like it didn't happen to the best of our ability. Um and moving forward. And we did have a little bit of a talk. We had a talk about that. For me, she was like family, and she was viewing it more as like a career coach kind of a thing. But for me, she was like family. And she seems to have like absorbed that. So there's that too. Like, I don't know if she comprehended just how devastating it was to be dead to her, like how devastating it was for me. Um, but we're trying. And to me, that's like, hoorah. Yay. So, um, the situation itself, this whole investigation thing is like nuts, but they are going crazy fast. They're like, oh, these investigations sometimes can take like 90, 60 days to get really going and stuff. No, it's been less than 2 weeks, and they're like, yeah, let's get this nipped in the bud, because they're like, at the very minimum, there needs to be education on what we want done when a student reports being bullied, harassed, or stalked at school. um I told them I didn't want anyone punished or anything like that. Like, I actually like my old bosses and stuff like that. And again, her, like, my hero, like, she was our direct boss, but she didn't understand what was happening. I didn't ever give her any details about like anything that he was doing to me or anything like that. So she wouldn't ever suspect that that was who it was. Like, I was trying really hard to tiptoe around that. Anyway, yeah, the whole situation, nuts. But now there's, witnesses have come forward and said they'll be witnesses. And Yeah, it's not just me saying something, so there's that. But yeah, I've been dealing with that for a very long time, and th- it's overwhelming. I get overwhelmed with emotion. But the director of one of the nonprofits that I've worked with for hosting events and stuff in the past, she is a has a PhD, maybe even more than one for all I know, in political science, and she's a very like activist kind of person, and she's agreed to be my advocate, and come with me to the meetings and stuff. And so I don't even have to like do it alone. which is like a huge relief. And um yeah, this is the first time, I think, possibly in my whole life that someone went out of their way to harass and bully me, and it didn't have to do with me being intersex, like at all, like not even a little. I think it genuinely was because this person seems to have like, he has some sort of like obsessive issues, like obsession personality. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not a psychologist, but like he has something going on where he gets like hyper obsessed, like to the point where he's like living in like a delusion or like a fantasy version of reality. Um like he literally just rocks back and forth high as a kite just from interactions. Like he, there's something going on there, like mentally with him. But if I never have to interact with him again for as long as I live, thank freaking goodness. I have had so many nightmares about this guy, and he's done some pretty messed up crap. I haven't said some of it. Some of it will be really triggering for someone to hear. Um, like suggestions of just bad things. And it's not going to be fun doing all of this. I've already had to be recorded talking about this with the district once, and I'm gonna have to do it again. Who knows how many times? Like, it's not a fun situation at all, but there's like hope that it'll come to a resolution of some kind, and that all by itself is something. And then she and I are trying to me not have to keep grieving. The grieving was just a lot. It really was. It was a lot. And the conference went incredibly well. I have my consultation coming up soon. I have this other event that I'm going to be speaking at it soon. Like, most of the letterness situation is turned in. It'll hopefully be resolvable. I feel like there's hope. A lot of things, even the negative things, feel like there's hope. Another thing is, oh my gosh, so this conference went really well. I have a lot of issues about love, like a lot, admittedly. I have had extremely negative relationships in the past. Every girlfriend I've ever had has, in some way, shape, or form, not treated me well, and the majority of them have been quite abusive, like full on abusive to me. I've been robbed. I've been cheated on. I've been screamed at with things being thrown at me. I've been hit. I've been, if you can think of it under the sun, it's probably been done to me by a woman at some point. Between my birth mother and my ex-wife and the women that I've been with, I've been abused in every way that a person can be, besides being burned alive or living in a war zone. Like, if it exists, it's been done to me. And I, have had girls show interest in me at the school, but they always were either highly aggressive, predatory, I would like to relish in your misery kind of girls, and I run away from those now very hard. Or else, I'm in a crisis. Please rescue me, and later I'm going to resent you and treat you like crap kind of girls. And I've gotten to where I run away from those pretty hard too now. And so most of the time, I'm not even thinking about dating someone, because the only two type of women who've ever been attracted to me in my entire life are those two types of women. Even when I was like my most sexy or whatever in my mid 20s, when I was insanely fit and I weighed like 135 pounds and I could lift 297 pounds, and women would line up to dance with me at the club, like literally line up to dance with me. Like, I somehow came out of that period of life without an STD. I don't know how. still, even just sleeping with any woman who wanted it, those are the only two types of women who've ever been attracted to me in my entire life. And so, like, I go to this conference because supposedly I'm smart and supposedly I'm intelligent. And people want to hear what I have to say and see me present. And oh, I'm so smart, they're going to give me this grad student certificate, even though I'm not a grad student at all. I literally just started my bachelor's. I am somehow so stupid. I was completely oblivious for 3 days straight that a girl was flirting with me. And it was because that's not the kind of girl who's ever flirted with me before. So I didn't even know what it looked like. And it was a lot healthier types of flirting. But yeah, I came home and I started telling my roommate about the conference, and she was like, "Oh, how cute!" And I'm like, "Cute?" And then I keep talking, and she's like, "Oh, she's throwing you bones," and I'm like, "What?" And then I get to a certain point, and my roommate just gets mad. She's like, "What? She wanted you to tell her she looked good. Why did you say that?" And I'm just like, "What is happening?" She's like, "This girl's been flirting with you so hard. Why would you not respond better? What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "No, no." And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, really? Like, oh my god, I completely like botched it, like so bad. I was so unaware, and I think about it now, and it's like, oh, duh. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? um so I ended up messaging this girl, and she messaged me back, and so I've messaged her again, and that's where things are at the moment. But even if nothing works out with her, even if I really did just like totally put myself in the friend zone because I had no idea she was even flirting with me, like, whatever. In reality, this is like a big win. Even if she and I just end up being pals and we don't end up in a relationship, a woman has been attracted to me who is smart and who is funny and who is pretty and who is nice, who has her shit together, who, like, doesn't have any reason to be looking for me to rescue her or save her from something. And she definitely doesn't seem like the aggressive predatory type of woman either. Like, I'm not getting any warning danger Will Robinson signals from her. Like, um that all by itself is a huge win for me because it's never happened before. And you might say, well, it might have happened before because obviously you couldn't tell when it did happen. Okay, fair attempt at an argument, but I'm telling you, it's never happened before, like, for sure. Every woman who's ever shown any interest in me before, it was one of those two reasons. And they were very obvious in their flirting with me. Every woman who's not been like that is either A, been in a relationship ready, B, been highly independent and not looking to get in a relationship with like anyone, no matter who they were, or C, just full on, there was no way, they were not interested. This girl, at least I can look back at it and be like, oh yeah, no, she was interested. I cannot do that with anyone else ever. So no, for real, this is the first time. But the fact that it happened at all, to me, is like a really positive sign. It's like, before, like, the idea of romance and stuff, like having a real mutual relationship, felt semi impossible because someone capable of giving me like a mutual relationship would never be attracted to me. And now here's this indicator that I don't know if I've just changed enough things in my life or if I'm just like becoming, I don't know. I don't even know. I have no idea why she was attracted to me, but like, we spent the first day of the conference. She presented, and then I commented, and I said, for context, here's a little information about me for my comment. And she talked to me a little afterwards for a few minutes, and then later we ended up talking for 5.5 hours straight. And we talked about a lot more than philosophy. and we talked about like love and talked about my great grandparents, talked about, the ways that we love, and talked to her about my relationship with my hero, and she was like, "Oh, that's adorable." Like, we talked about like the ways that we give love. And I had no idea we were flirting. Call me stupid. It's fine. I had no idea we were flirting. And we were in this hallway that was right in front of like this custodial area. And so it was like a shorter hallway, like skinnier. And she was leaned against one wall and I was leaned against one wall, and we would lean in toward each other or something, but would keep like our hands, by the wall. And the people would come through every once in a while and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you two. I know you're, talking something," or, act like we were being special. And she would blush. And I thought she was blushing because she was embarrassed. And she was blushing because they were suggesting we were special. We were a couple or something. And I did not see it at all. But now looking back at it, I can definitely see it. And like on day 2, she had asked to see the book that my hero wrote. So I brought the book and we looked at it together and like talked a couple times. But her mom talked to me a lot. Her mom was there to see her present for the conference. And my roommate is of course like, so that's called vetting. Her mom talked to me for hours, and stuff. And finally her mom's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go, but I think, my daughter, she wants to make dinner plans." I did not understand that it might be with me. So I just went and talked with random people. And she, for a little bit, was right next to me talking to people, and I was talking to someone, and we were next to each other. And then I ended up wandering off and talking to other people. And when I finally got done talking to them and went to say goodbye, like, she looked slightly like happy to see me, but not happy to see me. And I didn't know. I was like, I'm not sure what that. I was like, huh? She, it's pretty late in the day. We're tired. Whatever. I'm dumb. It's okay. You can say I'm stupid. The next day, we ended up sitting next to each other for the dinner banquet and stuff with her mom, and I talked with her mom a lot. And then afterwards, they want to take pictures because I got the certificate and stuff, and she was right there, and she was like, "Oh, here, do you want to take picture with my phone?" I took a picture of her with other people. Did not occur to me that she might want to take a picture with me. And then, she waited around some more. She helped take pictures of me with other people and asked me if I wanted any other pictures. I was like, "Oh, I think the school will be happy with these ones." I feel so dumb. And then she's like, "Oh, well, it's the end of the day and maybe no one wants to take pictures with me anyway because my makeup's, messy and hair and stuff at the end of the day." And I was like, "Oh, that's not true, I'm sure." And my roommate, this is the point when she was like, "How could you not tell her she looked good? Why did you not say she looked good?" And she was so frustrated. I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna like what I said next then." And she's like, "Oh my God, what next?" Like my roommate was about to like start yelling. She was so like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with you? How did you not see this?" And the girl's like playing with her hair like this. And she's like, "Well, my hair can be a little hard to tame, and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, my roommate has the same issue. She does this about it." And I could tell that wasn't what I was supposed to say, but I couldn't tell why or what. Like, she was slightly disappointed, but I didn't know what I had done that was disappointing. And my roommate's like, "You're supposed to tell her hair looks good. You're supposed to tell her it looks nice. Why did you say that?" And I'm like, I didn't I didn't get it. And yeah, so she left pretty quick after that with her mom, and I left, and we said bye. But we had connected on LinkedIn and Instagram and stuff like that, so I was able to message her, and she has messaged me back. So, like, again, we might just end up friends. I might have like dug my own grave by being this completely oblivious. That's okay. I'll be happy to be her friend. She's smart. She's cool. She's funny. Uh, she's a really cool person. But whether it turns into anything or not, the fact that she even could be attracted to me at all is like, to me, a giant boon on my like whole existence. Like, and if she had, you know been obvious enough that I actually, got it. And I had flirted back. I don't know how comfortable I would have been with doing too much anyway. Like, I am not comfortable with my body right now at all. I am overweight to prepare for surgery, and what's going on between my legs is the worst that it's ever been in my entire life. Like, definitely not comfortable with my body at the moment. So she goes to school over more toward the East Coast, and I go to school over on the West Coast. And if it ends up being like a long distance relationship or something, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm fine with that because my body is not something I'm sure someone else would want. And I mean, she does know that I was born intersex. That's something that came up. She knows how old I am. I don't know how old she is, but I think she's decently younger than me. Not like a kid or anything, but like, you know, she has 3 degrees, but like, she's still a student and somewhere in her 20s. I don't know where. I think more toward the late 20s, but still somewhere in her 20s. And I told them, hey, it had just been my birthday. I just turned 41. So her mom and her know how old I am, and they both love me. Her mom loved me, and she like seemed to like talking to me. Her and her, you know, they both seem to like talking with me a lot. I'm not sure again if it'll ever turn into anything, but the fact that it even occurred gives me a lot of hope. Like, maybe someday if I can get these surgeries done and stuff, it'll suck so much that it'll only get to be for a couple of decades, and that the majority of my life was completely a giant hellscape when it comes to relationships, and that almost my whole life was just like this giant block of despair and misery and being abused and isolating and stuff. But it already sucks anyway. That already sucks. I can't go back in time and undo any of that. It's just unfortunately a tragedy. But the thought that maybe even for a couple of decades that good, nice women who are smart and pretty and funny and not terrible could be interested in me, that's like a big win. Just the thought that that's even possible. So yeah, a girl has already started flirting with me at school a little bit, but I'm not interested. She's definitely one of those I'm a little bit in a crisis. Can you please flirt with me things? I don't want to do that. I have a friend who's been in a crisis and I've been trying to help her a lot and stuff, but we've already talked before that there will be no dating. And she's fine with that. So I'm more like, I told her I'm more like your brother, and she's fine with that. So, um, I'm doing 4 classes right now, and I actually enjoy my classes pretty decently because one's a research class, like college level research. And I already do research. I already like research. So there's that. And then the other 3 are all on ethics. And ethics is my favorite subject in the entire world. So, yay! Somehow I'm staying caught up with schoolwork. I do need to write some stuff, and I have a paper to write and submit for my next conference. But yeah, I guess this ended up being more about school stuff, but considering school is a huge part of my life, there's that. I am helping a lot with the queer trans group at my school, and last year I helped with leading the Queer Trans Day of Remembrance, and this year I'm going to help with Trans Day of Remembrance again. Um, the queer trans group leadership actually, we used to meet in the learning center, and they moved the room the second day of school when he came to looking for me. And I freaked out. um, I ended up, after my friend and I were done, I ended up talking with some leadership from that group, and they were like, "Oh, we're moving the room. It's getting moved." So they did it same day. And you would think, if that's what students leaders could do, why couldn't the leadership do better? But I guess that's part of why this investigation is happening so quickly. It is strange though to have like a bully and the bully not be bullying me for the usual reasons. It's a trip. It's a new experience because I've had people do a lot of really messed up crap to me, like full on attempt to kill me, because of the way I was born. This is the first time someone's threatened stuff like that, and it had nothing to do with how I was born, as far as I can tell. Crazy. But yeah, a lot has changed because I have my hero back in my life, and I had a positive birthday, and the conference was amazing. A girl was interested in me who wasn't like either of the two usual things. School's actually going decent. This consultation is still on. I'm back on testosterone again. Yay for hormones being back in my body at healthy levels instead of too low of levels. Like, not everything's perfect. Believe me. The government, ugh, stuff going on with the world, man, not great. The majority of it. But I feel hopeful. I feel a lot of hope. I think that's part of why my relationship with my mentor is so important to me, is because she represents hope for me. Like from the very first minute she met me, like we just, I don't know, she picked me or something. For some reason, she just was like, the very first conversation we ever had ever, she told me I wasn't allowed to be the smallest person in the room anymore, that I had potential. Like literally our first conversation. And it's just always been that way. And this situation was really messed up. And I did not think she would ever speak to me again. And here we are trying again. And here she is once again representing hope. That maybe, just maybe, I don't have to be the smallest person in the room. That maybe, just maybe, I do have potential, has turned into so much more. Like in the last 2 years, she said so many other things to me that were also influential. Like, she pretty much does every single time we speak. But yeah, I just am feeling hopeful. And it was pretty funny. My doctor being like, "Oh, I'm calling them. I'm gonna chew them out. That's unacceptable." Like she was so pissed. It was so funny. I feel like I have this advocate, someone gonna be with me through this process. I feel like for the very first time in my entire life, I feel like there's people who might be on my side, like in life. Like I have a friend who I feel like is a super good friend, and then I have another friend who I feel like is trying to get to being that in that position. I feel like my roommate and I are getting along better. Us having our own rooms is helping, at least from my side of things. Like I feel hope. It's really nice. It's really nice. And next time I record, I will probably be talking about a consultation and confirmation on, do I have a scheduled surgery. And hopefully, it will be not for like an insane amount of time from now, and hopefully it will be a reasonable amount of time from now. Oh my gosh, that would be incredible. I only have one electrolysis appointment left that's on schedule right now, and it's dependent on when my surgery is going to be scheduled for. Just being able to say those words, it's like um my insides are wacky inflatable balloon get man, like dancing around all over the place. So yeah, it's nice to have something happy to say. Thanks for listening.